morning and welcome to this November 25th version of From Sunrise to Sunset with Pastor Gene. Today we're going to begin looking at the pastoral epistles. These three T letters were arguably written by Paul or arguably written by someone assuming the name of Paul after his death, what Paul might have said to a later generation of Christians, perhaps after his death, or perhaps as the church is trying to organize its early structure. Arguments can be made either way. I remember when I was doing doctoral studies, I had to write a paper on this, and I presented both sides, and because I didn't take a side and argue it one way, the professor gave me the A- instead of the A on the paper. I'm going to still hold with that A- approach because I want you to kind of look at the scripture and decide. Either way, it's some wonderful instruction both to the church in that time and to the church today about how it is that we need to be set up as a community of faith. There are different styles. I'll let you be the judge of that in terms of the other Pauline epistles. But nevertheless, the key point is that here in 1 Timothy, there's warnings against false teachers, instructions concerning prayer, just basically asking the community of faith to hold fast to the doctrines that they have been taught. Which assumes a teaching, which is very important. In some senses sounds like Paul, in other senses may not. Then chapter 3 gets into the qualifications for bishops and the qualifications for elders. And this is a very important passage of scripture because it talks about the organizational structure of the church. And of course, the word bishop gets translated presbyters, and then there's the deacons, and the church has constantly been trying to define what these roles need to be in our structure. Even to this day, we continue to struggle with what that means in our boards of ministries and that sort of thing. This is a very practical book, how we're supposed to relate to one another, how we're supposed to be good ministers of the gospel of Jesus Christ, what we're supposed to, how we're supposed to act towards other members of the church, and ways that we are supposed to keep this faith intact. And one of the things that I would strongly urge you to do as you're reading through the pastorals is try to see these words through the eyes and ears of a pastor needing instruction on how to govern and how to lead the church. There's plenty here for members of the church, but there's a whole lot here for pastors if we just pay attention to these teachings. And maybe there could be a way that folks might get into the hearts and minds of what not only their preacher is doing, but what their preacher ought to be doing from sunrise to sunset.